Hello, and welcome to Colt Wilder's Cave Escape. To start your game, please visit coltwilderbreakouts.weebly.com. If you click on the picture called Colt Wilder's Cave Escape, that will get you to the setup of the game. As you can see here, there's the story and setup of the game. This game is good for ages 10 and up, and it follows the action-adventure series of Colt Wilder, which there are 2 books in the series right now. This page also has the setup, the clues, the answers, and all of the links that you will need to have clues for the students to play the game. Start by making sure you have everything that you will need to play the game, including your breakout box, maybe some treasure to go inside the box, all of the necessary hasps and locks, a UV flashlight, invisible pens, a smaller box with a 3-digit coded lock. I have copies of the Colt Wilder Adventure series that my students will take their clues from. However, on the website there are links to PDFs of the Adventure series chapters that you will need. You'll need the colored clues for the students. The grid, do the transformational geometry that will take place in one of the clues. And 4 clock faces with numbers circled in invisible pen. To start the game, give the students the website coltwildercaveescape.weebly.com. It will take them to this site that says off the top, if you have reached this site, it means Colt is in trouble. Students will then watch the video, which gives them their first clue. And their first clue states to find the link that is the code for Australia, which up in the top corner is the code +61, and that is actually the telephone code for Australia. So if they were to research it online, that's what it would come up with if you typed in code for Australia. Clicking on that link, it takes them to their first clue. And the first clue says, luckily you have what you need to get started in this room right now. Somewhere in this room you will find a manuscript of Colt's first adventure, Scarab, or at least a piece of it. Find the movie quote in the chapter titled Surf's Up. So when you're setting up the game, you need to hide either the book or the piece of the manuscript that is in the link on the other website that I have shown you. And they will read from the chapter called Surf's Up, and that will help them through the clue. Determine the movie and the year the movie was originally released. Now find out how many movies were in the series and the year the last one was released. Add the last 2 digits of that year together. Now choose 3 digits that can be added together to get the sum of those digits. It's a little bit confusing. They're going to have to read that closely in order to know what to do. And one thing that I want for my students is for them to actually take the time to read the instructions carefully. Use the 3 digits you have chosen to open the lock on the small box at the front of the room. So you're replacing the small box with the 3-digit combination lock at the front of the room, and that's the first place that they need to go once they've figured out this clue. The movie quote in the chapter Surf's Up comes from Back to the Future, which was released in 1985. That 1985 you will see come up later on in one of the other clues. The year that they're actually looking for is the year the 3rd movie was released. That was 1990. So if you add the last 2 digits together, that's 9 plus 0 is 9. And then you're choosing 3 digits that can be added together to get that sum of 9. The code for this combination is 333. There's the small box with the 3-digit coded lock. And there's the first chapter of the story. That is Surf's Up. That's the chapter that they're going to look through. The clue actually happens right at the very end of the chapter, so the students will have to read through the entire thing. It's only a couple pages, so it shouldn't take them very long. And that gets them through clue number 1. The objective for the rest of the game is to find the combinations for 4 locks that are on the hasp attached to the EDU breakout box, and there's one keyed lock as well that they will have to figure out where to get that key. Clue number 2 is to take the time to go to a large room full of knowledge that also holds 4 special faces. That large room is the library. If you can't play in the library, then you could set this up so that it simply keeps the students in class and you can hide those 4 faces in the classroom. The 4 faces that we're talking about are 4 clock faces that will be hidden somewhere in the library or in your classroom. And on these faces we have numbers circled, the number 1, the number 9, the number 8, and the number 5. And this is where that 1985 comes up again. Students will find these faces and then use a UV flashlight to find which numbers have been circled and which numbers are going to help them open the 4-digit coded lock. Clue 3, the students will get from the librarian if she's helping you out or if he's helping you out, or from the teacher themselves if everything is in the classroom. Clue 3 says to use the map provided by the timekeeper. That would be the person who was holding the clock faces, and the map is this grid that we will use for transformational geometry. They're to use the transformational movements that they know to determine the combination of the directional lock. They're going to show the transformations on the map or on this grid, and they're going to make sure that they match up the green triangle with the red triangle. In order to do this and use the directional lock correctly, they're going to translate left 8 spaces, reflect over the x-axis, and then translate right 7 spaces, and that should get them onto the red triangle. Some students might try to simply reflect over the x-axis and then translate left 1 space. You can do that and get to the red triangle, however that's not going to allow you to open the directional lock. Clue number 4 is another reading clue, and they have to find a copy of Myth and Legend, which is a chapter from Scarab, a Colt Wilder adventure, and they have to read that chapter and find the body of water that the characters come to in Egypt. They're going to use that name of the body of water along with the alphabet code shown here on the paper to determine the 3 digits needed for the 3-digit lock that is on the large breakout box. They're going to write those numbers down, and they're going to use them in order. Now, as we go down to the answer here, the answer to the body of water is the Red Sea. The numbers that correspond are 1854 and 1951. When you add those together, we get 18 and 16. And if we're using 3 different digits in order, the code becomes 186. So you can see with 18 and 16, the numbers we have is 1816. But if we're using 3 different digits again, they must be different, we get 186. Clue number 5 again is a reading clue. And in the second Colt Wilder adventure called Deep Six, this says the setting takes place in the countries of Italy, Canada, and Ecuador. They'll need to find a copy, or again, the printed PDF, and read the chapter Island Trade. A grand location will lead you to the key word. So the grand location is the Grand Palace, which is located in Quito, Ecuador. And they're going to use that word Quito in order to open the alphabet lock that is on the hasp on the breakout box. And finally, the last clue, clue number 6, tells the students about the treasure that Colt was going after in the cave at Catherine Gorge. And the story goes that Captain Cook brought Blackbeard's gold from North America all the way to Australia, and then he buried the treasure in the Catherine Gorge cave. At the time, the treasure was worth $1 million, and that was in the mid-1800s. So it says if you consider inflation since 1840, the value would be multiplied by 26.334. So this is a chance for students to practice their multiplication, including decimals. Their job is to determine the value of the treasure today. So they would multiply 1 million times 26.334, which gets us $26,334,000. And then they're going to divide the answer by the number of students in their group. So you might have different answers depending on how evenly your groups worked out. Ideally, we'll have 5 people in each group, and if you do have 5 people in each group, then the answer for each individual is $5,266,800. When they get that clue correct, they're going to bring that to the teacher, and the teacher will give the final key to the box. Good luck, and have a great time with the game.